right. Hey Tarek, what's going on? How's the morning in Dubai right now?
Everything chilling. Morning is cool now. The weather is getting better. So yeah, chilling.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I apologize. Like we tried to set up this podcast a while back and kind of fell apart, and then tried to get it going yesterday, but I understand things kind of happen, and kind of interesting. You got your morning started, and I'm ending my night here. So
Yeah, it's like on the other side of the world, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're like 8 hours ahead there. So, and I think that's kind of the problem I do find sometimes when I have certain fighters that are living in other parts of the world, trying to figure out like the time zones and everything. And of course, like this isn't my job. Like I have I have a job on the side, and so
Okay.
and because it's so all over the place. I guess like it makes it a little bit harder for me to book times with guests and stuff like that. But I'm glad that we got this going, and I guess we'll jump right into it. So can you kind of before I get into more in your career, can you kind of give me the backstory about how you got into MMA in the first place?
Yeah. So if you read about or watched any of my videos, you can see that I'm originally Syrian,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2011, Syrian war started.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was still in school. I was studying agribusiness. I was getting ready to be an engineer in agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
But due to the war, I couldn't pay my family couldn't support me with my tuition, and I couldn't get my monthly allowance. So I was like searching for ways to make a living, and I was already into kickboxing. I think I was doing it for fitness, aside with some bodybuilding. I was young. I was looking after my body. So um, then my friend said, "Well, there's a promotion coming, and they want to pay for people to fight."
Mm-hmm.
And it's MMA. You go in the cage, you fight for 15 minutes, you get paid. I was like, all right, let's do it. So I got some ideas about MMA, and I went for my first fight. And 10 years later,
And 10 years later, here we are.
yeah, I mean, like after getting the first fight, the promotion was like, all right, we want to offer you another fight for more money, and I was in need for the money, and I was like, all right, let's do it. Um, yeah, and just in the second fight, it was in different countries, so I traveled, so I experienced the travel part of it. I know most of amateurs or no, most of people who begin in the MMA, they fight on the local scene. They don't travel. They do everything locally. So I get to travel in the first hand, and I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the travel, meeting new people. It was like an easy way, let's say, of making money, an enjoyable way, learning new things and like being a professional athlete is not something common in this region. So
Right.
it's something that I wanted. I mean, I liked. I then it grows on me as the years started to lap.
Yeah, yeah, and that's quite the story. I mean, um, you know, hats off to you for getting out when you could. It's terrible what happened. I don't wish that on anybody. And I did watch a thing on a video of you, and you kind of talked about kind of what was going on. I'm doing this more for the viewers' sake. But you brought up the idea about how I guess what you were trying to say is how we're trying to show that this isn't when you hear the name Syrian, it's not just this is not the picture you should put in everyone's head. You need to show that you can come out of it and do something, and you can become a mixed martial artist. and
So
I really appreciate I really respected what you said,
thank you.
and
So
I wish more people would have that more of a thoughts on that, I guess.
so imagine yourself, or like imagine you like. So this is the struggles that I faced after my beginning. So after 3 years into MMA and trying to survive, making a living through MMA,
Hmm.
imagine you want to build a career where the whole world is like denying you, don't want you, and
Yeah.
whatever I go is just it was a struggle. Whatever I wanted to visit, it was like, oh, maybe you never leave. So it was a struggle. Each country I visited, it was like they if you have the feeling that you're a burden on everyone.
Hmm.
Everyone, each country doesn't want you to be in their land, and
Yeah.
it was like it was kind of this is the struggle that I faced, like when mid career time, the whole world was like don't want me. So
Hmm. It must be hard.
yeah, traveling, trying to stay focused, trying to stay positive about it. It was rough till like I mean, the last few years were like it was a make it or break it fight when I fought Ollie Thompson, and things happened like in a good way. So
Hmm. But I mean, now here you are, and you're kicking ass, and just in your last fight that you won by knockout. So, um, yeah. So I mean, you're way farther than where you were before. Now, are you still having those issues? Like, are you having people like, no, I don't want you to be fighting, or like, are you still facing that same kind of barriers, or?
not like before. I think I've built a travel record that I can like. It's easy for me now. It's unlike other fellow Syrians. Um, I was a resident of Thailand. I was the head coach of Tiger Muay Thai there, and now I'm a resident of UAE. I'm here residing in Dubai, and I have residency. So like I think once I have one of these papers, it was allowing me to travel easier, giving the other country an insurance that I can return back.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I think that's pretty sweet. I mean, you being a head coach at Tiger Muay Thai, which I think is one of the Muay Thai, or one of the best Muay Thai gyms in the whole world. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of great fighters have come out of that, have trained there. You got to describe the atmosphere of that place. I mean, it seems like it's like kind of like you have Muay Thai gyms and you have all these gyms, and then Tiger Muay Thai is like here.
So Tiger Muay Thai, that they have, you will be shocked that this place has the best grappling, like in Southeast Asia. Like I mean, maybe in Asia, all of it. We have a huge MMA program. Like at one point, you will see more than 60 pro athlete on one mat. So, like sometimes we needed to split the class because we had so many pro athletes. And with the pro athletes come the normal people that they want to be training with, like the athletes. They want to live the vibe. They want to have this atmosphere of training with professional athletes. So the gym was always busy year round. There's no high or low season. The gym was packing. Uh, Jiu-jitsu, like till I became a black belt in 2018. We had numerous numbers of coaches passing by and teaching, and like my style is not one dimensional or one school because I've been into so many schools being in that gym is so many black belts passed by, so many black belts put their teachings, and I picked up a little bit from everybody. So my style is a little bit off. when I train with people is a little bit off. The gym like is a meltdown of talents. So all the, like it's a melting point. All athletes from all over the world come in one point, and it's just a different experience. You never lack training partners. You never lack coaching. You never lack hard work. So yeah, it's a good experience and a good place to be if you're starting up your career or you're preparing for a fight.
Absolutely. Now, just moving forward, I mean, so congrats on your last fight. Uh,
Thank you.
now, what are your plans? Or do you want one more fight before the end of the year, or do you just want to spend time with the family for the end of the year? What?
I wanted I wanted to have a one more fight. 'Cause I'm kind of working with UAE Warriors. However, I'm not exclusive, but we just have a really nice relationship. Me and the promotion.
Okay,
Uh, uh, I mean, I could have fought in different. I think there is, Dubai is becoming the mecca, or UAE, the mecca of MMA. All the
yes,
promotions come do their events here. So there is 3, 4 events till end of the year, including one of them, UAE Warriors. Uh, but I think they want me to headline a January card, and I'm getting married tomorrow, so a lot of things going on. So
congrats again.
thank you.
Yeah, so you want to fight and you're getting married. I think that's a pretty damn good deal.
Yeah, so maybe they will put me on hold till January. So maybe the camp starts in 2 weeks.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I, and kind of talking about UAE expanding and hopefully getting more of the MMA in that region of the world. Um, One thing I was reading today, so actually Dana White from UFC, he talked about how he wants to kind of expand more to the Arab region and get more of that attention out that way. So what and I know that he's mentioned that he is looking to hopefully maybe recruit fighters from UAE Warriors. So is that kind of like your ticket to possibly getting into a big ugh, can't talk today, bigger organization like the UFC?
Um, I mean, it's always been the plan. Like
Absolutely.
since I kicked off my career in MMA, I wanted to make it big. Like you want to make the big boxes, then you gotta get in the UFC. Plus, after so many years, I wanna leave a legacy behind me. I wanna be the first Syrian ever to be in the UFC. There's no Syrian fighters. Like at this level, you may active competition. I don't think there is any Syrian. Like I want to set an example. I want to make a change, and I mean, like I'm trying to work things above with UAE Warriors to prepare the younger generation. I hear like so many people message me about they want to compete, but they lack the platform, and it seems like I'm just drawing the road to becoming an athlete. So we just want to find that place to create a platform for people to view their skills and eventually show the UFC that we have athletes in like hopefully Syrian, because for the Arab region, we already set the example with Munir Lazaz and Ali Qaisi. They already part of the UFC. One of from Tunisia and one of from Jordan. So of course, I wanted to be the first Arab, but they lucky them they were there. Now I want to be the first Syrian. So this is the mission, and I'm calculating my steps forward. That's why I have a good relationship with the UAE Warriors. They know the goal. They want to help me. So yeah, my manager is on it. I am under the radar because on several occasions My name was like there with them, and especially after fighting Ollie Thompson and getting the UAE Warriors title,
Mm-hmm.
like my name was under their radar, and we're waiting to have, because after Ollie's Thompson, I lost one fight to what's a legendary grappler, Rustam Chesiev. He's one of ADCC's legends. So yeah.
Yeah, and that must suck. So, if I'm reading it wrong, I try to do as much homework as I can. So, like you get that one title, and then you're fighting a different weight class. So, what was that all about? Like, what happened there?
So it was again, it was at the point where I make it or break it, and my manager. It was my first fight with UAE Warriors, and my manager said, "Hey, listen, they need a favor. They're not fighting a match for a title, and I have a very good name in the Arab region.
Right,
And you want to fight? It's a lot bigger weight class, and if you win, it's gonna change things up for you."
right on.
Yeah, so like, all right, let's risk it, and I did, and it was one of the hardest fights, like, and not just like the fight wise, but mentally and physically. Yes, I never fought a heavier person. He was coming from heavyweight, so imagine how big he was.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, we got the win, and it was good.
Well, that's great to hear, Tarek. I would love to get more into detail with you in your career. Unfortunately, it is very late here. Uh,
I know.
and but I do appreciate you. I know, like, to do this first thing in the morning. I get it. I know that, doing this first thing in the morning, I know that can be a lot.
Uh,
But I do appreciate you for coming on the podcast, talking as much as you could, and hopefully we'll see upcoming fight pretty soon here.
Hopefully we do so, and we'll catch up later, anytime, like maybe next week. Now this week is pretty packed, getting the marriage stuff ready and the papers. So much work. So
Uh, Part two is coming up in the next couple of weeks for sure.
cool.
Perfect. Thanks, Tarek. Have a great day. Eh?
You too.